Thank you, Donna. And before Angelica speaks, I want to thank you, Donna, because some of the first news stories I saw, the television news stories, were about your amazing work and the Beltrans, of course. So when I looked at what was happening there, I was reading about the great humanitarian work, helping your own neighbors in East Porterville. So I want to thank you for that. But Angelica, thank you for coming here, and you may pull up a microphone and.
Good afternoon. My name is Angelica. I just want to tell you a little bit how it's the drought has affected us, especially on my family. It's been a year already that my well went dry, and it's really hard. I mean, when you have kids, I'm a full-time mom, and when my well went dry, I just kind of like freaked out. Especially when you have kids, you got to send them to school. I went to go knock one of the neighbor's doors to ask him for water, and he said no. It was kind of hard and sad because my daughter wanted to go to the bathroom. And there was no water to flush the toilet. And which I understand. The neighbor said no because my well is going to go dry too, which, I understand. It's been a year already, and I want to thank Donna. She's been in the Beltran. If it wouldn't be for them, I mean, we wouldn't have no water, no drinking water. It is hard being without water for a year. Especially when I got real sick because of the asthma, because of the air quality, and I gotta be depending on this inhaler. We need help. Not only for my family, but for our community out there. I'm not the only one, but we need your help. And I just want to thank you, Eva, Donna. Thank you very much. You're always been there for us, and you guys are so wonderful. You guys have a big heart, and I know we're all. Even though I work, during my weekends when I'm off, I'm helping Donna. I'm delivering water, and just to see those people out there showering outside, it's sad, especially in this state. And I know my daughter has to share something, but I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Ms. Gallo, for your moving testimony. I really appreciate it, and I know it takes a lot. It's hard to come testify at these hearings, but the best way you can inform policymakers, and so California could do a better job and supporting communities just like yours is by sharing these powerful stories. So I thank you for doing that here today. Danica, thank you for coming as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Danica Beltran. I'm here because we need your help. Last year, I told my parents that they were making fun of me at school, and then me and my dad tried to work hard to get water out of the well. Then he had a friend to help him, and then we saw that the well that it didn't have no water. Then me and my dad saw some people without water too, and then my dad tried to help the people, but he couldn't. And then Donna, she's so wonderful to us that she's the one that helps us to survive with water. And thanks to God, we have Donna, and she's like an angel to me. And it's good that we have Donna. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for testifying, Danica. I hope that one day maybe you'll be sitting up here and helping California solve its problems, you know. But thank you for your amazing work. We also have one more witness on this panel, Eldemira Rodriguez. Thank you for coming today as well. You can just pull up a microphone and you think so. If you could, and we have a translator. And
Hola, mi nombre es Edelmira Rodríguez. Yo vengo también de la ciudad de Portville. También vengo por situación que estamos pasando ahorita por problemas del agua.
y vamos en partes para que puedan dar la traducción, por favor.
Hi, my name is Aldemira Rodriguez, and I am from Porterville, and I'm here to talk about the situation.
El problema es que yo tengo 2 casas. En una viven mis hijas. Se secó el pozo del agua, mayo. Pues traté de buscar problemas cómo solucionar el agua, pero pues con la situación que está ahorita todo, no hay esperanzas de que pongan agua o el pozo lo hagan más profundo para que salga agua, porque pues ahorita como está la situación, muy caro todo. Y tengo un negocio, yo y mi esposo, también se secó el agua y bajó mucho también el business, bajó la clientela.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have a problem. I have 2 houses. One of them, my daughter lives in it. The well dried up, and I tried to solve the problem, but there's no hope that there will be any water or no well, or to dig up a well deep enough because it's too expensive. I also have a business, and also we don't have water for that business.
En mi casa sí teníamos agua, pero en el mes de julio también se terminó donde estamos mis hijas y yo. Y ahorita la otra casa, pues ni puedo vivir habitablemente ahí, ni puedo rentarla, y estamos con muchos sacrificios saliendo adelante a dar los pagos de esa casa. Mi esposo también bajó su clientela por el mismo problema de que cuando hace mucha calor, es cooler de agua, como no tenemos agua, se pone muy caliente y pues la clientela pues ya no van a otro lugar donde tengan más accesible agua, como por ejemplo en la ciudad.
I have, excuse me. In my house, we did have water until June, but the water also dried out. In the other house where the water already dried out, we cannot put it to rent or pay for it because there's no way of renting it because of lack of water. My husband's business, the clientele went down because of the cooling situation, and therefore clients don't go to the business as often.
Es todo, gracias.
Thank you very much for all the entire panel for coming here. Like I said, this hearing was to hear you, but we want to see how the state can do a better job in supporting East Porterville. So it's all the hard work ahead is to continue to follow through and continue to try to support your local efforts. But I thank you for coming up a long way, because I know it's a long drive. But your testimony was a critical part of today's hearing, and I thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are several other people here.
Yes, we got. Is there? Let's see. Is that part of the?
All of us speak to that.
At the end, we have public comments, so they can make some additional comments at the end of the hearing as well.
Well,
Okay.
one of them does speak English.
Yeah. O lo puedo decir en español. Si hay otras personas que quieren dar testimonio, al final va a haber una oportunidad de decir más comentarios sobre el crisis que existe en Porterville Este. So, al final de la audiencia. Okay. So for those who want to give testimony at the end of the hearing, we'll have some additional time for comments. You could give additional comments about how the crisis is impacting you at the end of our hearing. Our next panel of witnesses will be Paul Boyer with Self-Help Enterprises, Mary Alice Scarcega Fechner with Community Services and Employment Training, Rosemary Caso of the United Way, and Fred Beltran with the Porterville Area Coordinating Council. And who would like to start first?
I'm willing to.
Okay, just pull up
on the order here. Yeah.
Pull the microphone closer so we can hear you clearly.
Yes.
While they set up these charts here.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Alejo, Assembly members, and staff. My name is Paul Boyer. I work at Self-Help Enterprises, which is a nonprofit corporation. Our service area are the 8 counties of the San Joaquin Valley, from Kern County on the south to Stanislaus and Mariposa on the north. Our organization is primarily an affordable housing organization. We've helped over 6,000 families build their own homes, rehabilitate homes, do rental housing. And I work in the community development department, which works with small disadvantaged communities that have water and wastewater issues. And right now we're working with about 60 communities in the San Joaquin Valley. And probably most of them are in Tulare and Kern County. Our normal work is related to high nitrates, arsenic, uranium, things like that, and poor drinking water, trying to help these communities get funding through state and federal government to make improvements. The drought has changed a lot of what we do. We still do that work, and somehow with more hours we're finding ways to try to help with the drought, although it is challenging. There's 2 ways that we're looking at helping families with the drought. One are trying to find short-term solutions, which looks at some things like the interim water tanks, which we'll go into more detail later on, and then long-term solutions. And we have a small loan program. It's almost $1 million, but actually it means that out of the 170 applicants on our waiting list for drilling deeper wells, we can probably only help 20 to 30 of them. And so we're looking for more funds for that to help more families. Another thing is where it's possible to tie on to community water system, we help entities apply for funds. And one, I'd say, success has been in the city of Farmersville and the county of Tulare, 100 houses there, Cameron Creek area. Their wells have gone dry. 8 months ago, applications went in for $1 million, half of that to the state, half of the USDA, federal government. And that project's now funded, and actually construction is now underway. And that's what we like to see, if there's possibilities to do that, because some areas, if you do help drill a deeper well, that doesn't necessarily mean that well is going to last forever, or you have, drinkable quality water. Going to the short-term solutions, I want to say that we're happy to be a partner with, Porterville Area Coordinating Council, with CSET, with United Way, in trying to help, as you can tell, desperate situations for a lot of families, to try to make, some semblance of normalcy in their families, to have, basic thing like running water for sanitation purposes in their homes. We have worked with, I know Fred there for, Porterville Coordinating Council. They've identified, some of the more needy households, and early on we were doing some prototypes with Porterville Coordinating Council to put in some pump systems and kind of see how well these are working, even though it's a very limited amount of water. We did installations on 6 homes with the 250 to 300 gallon tanks with CSET Youth Corps workers, and which I know Mary Alice explained much better, but they have a lot of experience with putting irrigation pipe together with conservation projects for parks, and it's a good match. In November, we were able to get a signed contract with State Office of Emergency Services, and with basically a collaboration with Tulare County Office of Emergency Services and the state. It really expands what can be done, and it's like the three nonprofits working together here, which you'll hear of. The idea is that we would get involved in purchasing materials, doing site assessments, working to get the buildings departments permits, and then basically to see what the quality is, because we're not sure what that quality is going to be of that water. And so actually yesterday and today we had a certified water operator. We're contracting with 3 to start testing these tanks for coliform bacteria and chlorine residual to see what that water quality is after it's in the homes. When we get that information, that will all be shared. With the OES funding, we've also been able to prototype different setups, different size tanks, different pump systems, filling on the top versus the bottom, and so we've learned a lot. And so at this point, there's kind of a standard setup that's starting to go out there. We've purchased with OES money 164 water tanks, most of those 2,500-gallon tanks. 60 have been received. There's a long lead time from the time you order them. There's 2 Valley manufacturers, one in Chowchilla, one in Hanford, so it takes a while to get those done. So we've ordered those, and they're coming in. We've also purchased and received 290 small pump systems, and that's after experimenting with some different pumps, see what would work the best. And we've also bought a lot of miscellaneous plumbing supplies, and our main place of operation, even though this is for all of Tulare County, is in East Porterville, and so we're renting a space there, and we've got a couple of storage lockers with materials in it, and CSET is doing those installations. At this point, we've done 30 site assessments, and either those building permits are issued or are in the works. And again, I just want to say that, we feel that this is it's taken a while, but this is a good framework to start moving ahead and ramping things up to really start meeting the need in Tulare County and especially East Porterville.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And before we go to our next witness, Assemblymember Dolly has a quick question.
So first I want to apologize. I have to step out just for a minute, but I'll be right back. But I wanted to ask, and I read through the material that was been provided, but the deeper you go, is there some study that's been done on the quality of water if you go deeper, and then through what area are the availability of good clean water at a deeper level to able to extract out?
Okay, it's all different parts of the valley, of course. In my understanding, and others could help correct me, but my understanding is Porterville years ago, and they have staff here could explain it better, but years ago did a lot of test wells, found that on the east side, a lot of high nitrates, and that the west side of Porterville is the better place to get potable water. And so again, it's our concern that as people are able to drill deeper wells in East Porterville, they're going to have high nitrates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next witness, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Alice Escarcega, and certainly want to thank the committee for allowing us to share our information and what we're doing in the community. As the Executive Director of Community Services and Employment Training, we are a private nonprofit that has been in the community since 1976. Prior to that, we were a part of Self-Help Enterprises. So certainly the mission and the vision to make sure that the community is living to the best of its capacity is there. We basically have been working as a team with United Way and Self-Help to basically bring resources into the community. As an agency, we have not received any additional funding. We did receive some small funding as a community action agency to do some work with helping to canvass and get information gathered, and we are doing that now with the county. But our role as a part of the OES partnership in their paying us through the emergency funding as we provide the work is installing water tanks with the families. Our role is simply to install them. We don't choose who gets them. That is not the intent of the work that we're doing. Our work is basically the Conservation Corps provides training for young people who are 18 to 25 who are not working and are working towards their high school diploma. They're the ones that are actually doing all of the installations. Our intent is, as we get gearing up, that we will probably be installing countywide probably over 1,000 tanks in Tulare County. And that's how large the need is in the community, and 75% of those tanks will be probably going in East Porterville. We anticipate also that there is a great need. We haven't been able to add any additional resources. The resources that we do have currently is a low-income home energy assistance program that we have through our Community Action Agency. We're able to assist people with any type of light bills that they may have. We are able to help them twice a year instead of once a year, and that is typically anywhere from $350 to $1,000 depending on that need. We also have contacted over 981 families and have worked closely with certainly the Beltrons and the PAC. They have been the ones that have been most entrenched in the community and trying to work with them and Donna Johnson to identify people. The challenges that we continue to face, and you've heard some of them earlier today, is that renters do not want to get their landlords in trouble. And so they are afraid to come forward because they have nowhere else to go. When you're looking at the community itself, you're looking at a community that probably 45% are renters. Where would they go? There isn't even the inventory countywide for them to move to. And so those are some of the things that we're challenged with. Secondly, what we've heard as well when we've canvassed is that parents are afraid to come forward because they're afraid of child welfare services, that their children will be taken away. And so that is another challenge that we're having. So we feel that the only way that we can begin to truly get the need is to canvass personally, and those are some of the things that we are going to be planning to do in the next few weeks. I think, as was said earlier, there are certainly good intentions of policymakers, advocates, and other concerned citizens. That does not mean that families do not encounter significant systematic barriers and impair their ability to navigate and access services. Even with all of us on the ground, even with PAC, there's still people who are not accessing services. And our goal is how do we work better together to get all of those resources to the best that we can, that we're not duplicating efforts, but more than anything, that we're facilitating resources that don't hinder people from getting help. This was mentioned earlier. Right now, we can only help folks with tanks that are homeowners. The landlord would have to purchase the tank for the renter in order for us to be able to install the tank. That is an issue when you have some of the houses where there was 10 families, 10 housing, to one well, and the well has gone dry. When we canvassed, there was 15 houses that were on one well. So when you begin to look at all of that and you look at the amount that it's going to cost to drill a well, first of all, there's access to capital. They don't have the access to capital. You can't get the money immediately. So those are some of the things that I think as we begin to look at solutions and you begin to look at those best practices and lessons learned, how do we begin to not have so many strings attached to funding that doesn't allow nonprofits like us to do the work that we would like to do and do it very quickly. As we said earlier, we got the contracts in November. We're still working through the permit process. We're still needing to get all of the tanks ordered, and our intent is that we hope to be able to do at least 2 to 3 tanks daily. And the intent is to bring on young people to do the work, to get the work done, and put young people to work. Tulare County, as you know, I'm preaching to the choir, has had an economic crisis that has only been compounded by the drought. We are not even at the tipping point. This is not even the tipping point. So when you begin to look at where we're heading, this will only exacerbate what is going on in the community and the needs that are needed in the community. As your committee considers various strategies to address the drought and identify resources for the Central Valley and specifically East Porterville, please seek funding solutions that are more inclusive and will lead to long-term solutions for drought-impacted areas in our communities. And certainly want to thank you for the opportunity to share our story and share what we're working on together.
Thank you very much. And it's useful to hear what is working and where we still need areas to provide support in. And for all the witnesses who have come out, this is being televised on Cal Channel, so people who have access to that channel can be able to see and hear what's happening locally, and also hear about the great work that I think has been done by a lot of the groups that are coordinating with each other to make the best of a really challenging situation. Our next witness, Rosemary Caso.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosemary Caso, and I'm the Executive Director for the United Way of Tulare County. We had been invited to come to the table because all United Ways are water haulers. That's our role. So what we've been doing is, in conjunction with self-help, bringing the tanks out, and then CSET hooking up those tanks, we are in charge of getting the water haulers out to those homes. It has been a slow process, obviously, because there is a method in which we have to get them out. There are assessments that are being done. One of the primary things that we've been doing is through our 211 call center. We ask residents to call 211. It automatically comes to our office, and we're able to get information. So as of last Friday, we've had 577 phone calls to get on the list to find out how they can get services, regardless of income. That does not matter to us. We definitely want to provide resources that are available. Some of those phone calls do alleviate to loss of jobs, loss of income, dry wells. And you look at that and you try and figure out what other resources are available. So we bring in emergency food and shelter funding, Feed America funding to obviously try and help offset, but that is not making a dent. So in the process right now, we are looking at how can we expand the services that are being provided, looking at water haulers. We have 14 water haulers ready to go on contract. All we need now is tanks to get installed, but we're ready to go.